Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So Prabhuji passed out from medical college in Mumbai, and after that he's taking care of many projects. One among them is Aurangabad, and he is inspiring many youths and many people around the world, especially Aurangabad, Mumbai, Maharashtra area, as well as all over the world. He goes and preaches. So without taking any further time, we'll get to hear from his class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Shri Harinama Sankirtan Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Hare Krishna. Good morning. Was that unexpected? So sorry. Good morning. All right. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So today is Dwadashi. I hope all of us had fun with Ekadashi yesterday. Did we have fun? Ekadashi is fun time, isn't it? Yes, it should be, right? Okay. So tomorrow is an interesting day for those who consider themselves to be following or those who have accepted Krishna conscious philosophy in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. According to the Vaishnava Pancha, our Gaudiya Vaishnava calendar, tomorrow is Jyeshta Shukla Trayodasi, the 13th day of the waxing moon in the month of Jyeshta. Our calendar says it is Trivikram Mas. So in the month of Trivikram, to make it more relevant for us, month of June. Okay? And we are going to try and share and discuss some of the references in relationship to this tithi, this occasion in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the references are there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and there is also some mention in the Chaitanya Bhagavata. Chaitanya Charitamrita is a very holy scripture in our parampara, in our lineage. So Chaitanya Charitamrita describes the activities and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Chaitanya. So all of us are acquainted with Lord Chaitanya. Yes? You could always say Hari Bol and hello to him on the altar. We have Lord Gauranga? Yes. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Lord Gauranga, they are the same personality. Krishna descended in the form of Lord Gauranga. He had a specific mission in mind, and Krishna felt very happy to be able to expand this mission in our universe by taking on the mood of Srimati Radharani. So mood and mission of Srimati Radharani was accepted by Lord Krishna. So this incarnation is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when he appeared in the holy Dham, township of Navadvip, he made a lot of waves in society. I mean, people really noticed him. He became quite famous. Do we want to be famous? We want to be famous. Let's accept it. I mean, yes, we are humble, but yet we want to be famous. Fame and humility. So where does that come from? It comes from the Supreme Lord himself. The Supreme Lord has all fame to his credit. Yash. Correct? Of the 6 qualities that qualify an entity to be God, as mentioned by Parashara Muni, one of them is Purna Yash. Samagrasya Yash. That is very, very famous, the most famous. I mean, all fame practically belongs to him, and any fame that is there in this world is a reflection of the fame that belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Wow, that was quite a long sentence in one breath. Okay. So Krishna likes to be famous too. Or let's say, fame likes to associate with Shri Krishna, with Lord Chaitanya. That is better, isn't it? Because if I say Krishna likes to be famous, then it would be controversial. It's like, how can you say about Krishna? But he has likes and dislikes. So he was quite famous. And one particular boy was very much attracted to Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya's personality, his philosophy. This boy was the son of two very, very well-established businessmen in those times. They were also very decent people, and they were very, very dedicated to Lord Chaitanya and to the devotees who were the companions of Lord Chaitanya, like Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur. So these two brothers were called as the Majumdar brothers. What were they called as? Majumdar brothers. The names are Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar. Amongst them, they were married. Amongst them, they just had one child, a boy, a male child. Lovingly, they gave him the name Raghunath. So today we are going to speak about Raghunath, because at a very young age he was insanely attached and attracted to Lord Chaitanya. There is this idea amongst the followers of the Krishna consciousness movement that one must be mad in love of Godhead. You've heard about it? You like the idea? Do you subscribe to that idea? Mad in love for God. So, a synonym for mad is insane. So Raghunath was madly in love, or he had this insane attraction to Lord Gauranga. However, he was a little boy. So he'd ask his friends of his parents, his uncle, like Balarama Acharya and others, that please, whenever you go to meet Lord Chaitanya, could you take me along with you? So Lord Chaitanya lived in Mayapur for almost 24 years of his life. He lived in Mayapur. Up till the age of 16 years, he was up to his antics as a little boy. I mean, he was really having fun. So those are some of his famous activities. Post 16, he became very famous as a scholar, 16 years of age. And Raghunath was a little boy. There were very few occasions that Lord Gauranga would come to the town of Raghunath. So what was the town that he grew up in, where he was born? Krishnapur. And Krishnapur is very close to Shantipur. And Krishnapur is very close to Saptagram. And Krishnapur is very close to the town of Panihati. So one day, in his teenage years, Raghunath, he heard that Lord Chaitanya at the age of 24 years has taken sannyas. You know what is sannyas? Everyone knows what is sannyas? That's good. So he had accepted the life of sannyasi. Raghunath was devastated. But then he got another inspiration. He said, if Lord Gauranga can take sannyas, I should also take sannyas. So as a teenager, this idea came to him that I just follow Lord Gauranga, so if he's taken sannyas, I should take sannyas too. His parents, they doted on him. I mean, his family, his uncle, his father, his mother, his aunt. He was like the apple of their eye, whatever that means. But they really doted on him. You've heard this phrase before, apple of someone's eye? Well, I've heard of apple pie. Now, typically at the temple that we are in, apple pie is more in demand. So, apple of their eye. They really had lot of dreams for their young Raghunath, a teenager. So now he's taken sannyas. Gauranga Mahaprabhu, that was 24 years of age. Raghunath is a teenager now. He requests his father to let him go to Shantipur. Why? Because after sannyas, Lord Chaitanya had come to Shantipur. After taking sannyas in the town of Kantakanagar. It is called as Katwa now. So in Kantakanagar, he takes sannyas. Lord Chaitanya wants to go north and then west towards Vrindavan. Nityanand Prabhu brings him south to Shantipur at the house of Advaita Acharya. So the news spreads. Advaita Acharya has already sent, his put the message on WhatsApp groups of those times. Come one, come all. Lord Gauranga is at Shantipur, and this is where we get to see Lord Gauranga for the first time as a beautiful, shaven-headed personality, a sannyasi. So everyone comes. Raghunath, he requests his parents. They send him, they agree. They've already got inkling of Raghunath's desire to take up sannyas at an early age. So they send guards with him. Those guards are they have been instructed to bring him back, along with also giving him security. Well, he's a rich boy, right? So he needs security. Big inheritance. The Majumdars, they actually worked for the king. They would collect tax on behalf of the king, of the country. In those days, people who collected taxes, who collects tax in our present times? The government. You know how rich the government is. So that's how rich they were. So they also wanted to keep their child safe. So they sent him with bodyguards. Not just one or two, but 10 or 12 bodyguards. So he comes to Shantipur. Advaita Acharya loves Raghunath. As soon as he sees Raghunath, he says, "Hey boy, come over." And he immediately brings him into the presence of Lord Gauranga. Lord Raghunath has tears in his eyes because he's seeing the beautiful golden form of Lord Gauranga, shaven-headed. He's seen Lord Gauranga before, but with his beautiful flowing hair. So Raghunath is very emotional at this point. To be poetic, he was gazing upon Lord Chaitanya as a honeybee would gaze upon nectar. Chataka bird, looking upon the Swati Nakshatra. So he's already offered his obeisances to Lord Gauranga. And then he speaks his mind. He reveals his intentions to Lord Gauranga. So now we are going to pull up the references from Chaitanya Charitamrita. There you go. Lord Gauranga sizes him up immediately. He's like, okay. Lord Gauranga is very sharp. Well, he's also the Paramatma, so he has access to a lot of data. So immediately sizes him up. He's like, yeah, I understand what is going on in his mind. So Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 16, text 237. Sthira na ghare jao na hao batula krame krame paye loka bhava sindhu kula. So bhava sindhu kula, cross over the ocean of bhava, the ocean of birth and death, ocean of material existence. However, Raghunath wasn't expecting Lord Gauranga to call him names. Lord Gauranga called him Batula. Batula means don't cross the line, basically. Don't go overboard. Here it's crazy, right? But you know, Bengali. Any Bengalis here? I know one. Any Bengalis? Would you agree just with the translation as crazy? Or would it also mean something? There's another flavor to it, right? Batula. Batula simply does not mean crazy. It means don't reach out for something that is beyond your jurisdiction. You know, sometimes when you're young, eager, you feel like you are qualified for something, and they'll just tell you, all right, relax. You still have a long way to go. So that is what Lord Chaitanya is implying here. Don't be so crazy. This is not your time. And then he says, the next verse, he clarifies. If you want, you can just remove the purports. We'll just take the verse and translations. That would be easier for you. Yeah. So, the next verse, 238. Yes. मरकट वैराग्य ना करो लोको देखाना यथा योग्य और यथा योग्य विषय भुंजो अनाशक्त न. Synonyms could be there, otherwise there's no fun, right? So please, the synonyms, yeah, thank you. So, Markota Vairagya. What is his craziness? How was Raghunath trying to overreach? He says, Markota Vairagya. Your renunciation is actually not well thought out. You're too young. You haven't really understood what is renunciation. Like most of us, we still are trying to figure out what it means to chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I mean, we fell for it. Batula, that is how we were. We still are, Batula. Somebody told us, you chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, everything will go all right. Really? Something goes wrong, that is when we have faith in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. typically. So if you're chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and they convinced us that everything would be okay, things would work out for you, still, work in progress. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is calling out Raghunath's idea of renunciation. Because Raghunath also wants to be a sannyasi, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi, just like somebody takes initiation, I also want to take initiation. Somebody is chanting 20 rounds, I also want to chant 20 rounds. Somebody is doing Nirjala Ekadashi, I also want to do Nirjala Ekadashi. And then doctor says, hey, you've got an ulcer. Because Nirjala Ekadashi should not give you ulcers. So Markata Vairagya. Markata Vairagya is monkey renunciation. That's another topic, we are not going to discuss that. Prabhupada had a lot to say about monkey renunciation. Na kara. Don't subscribe to that kind of renunciation, Raghunath. And this is Lord Gauranga, he's just all of 24 years of age. All of just 24 years of age, and he says, he's seen the world really. You'd expect that to be spoken by somebody who's in their 50s, retirement, like Warren Buffett. He says, don't buy stocks or something like that. He gives it's his experience talking. Lord Gauranga, he says, don't go for that. Nakara. Because you may not realize it at this point of time, but actually you're under peer pressure. Actually, you're looking for loka khyati, appreciation from the community. We face that? Maybe we have faced it, right? We need to be valid, we seek validation. We need to have some validation from the community that we are in. So what is the validation that we receive in our community? Typically, it should not be like that, but till the time somebody is not initiated, everyone is kind of encouraging them. And as soon as they are initiated, there is validation. And after that, everyone forgets who they are. They're like, oh, you're already initiated. Now it's done for you. Till the time they commit some mistakes, and then you're already initiated. This was not expected of you. So validation. Loka dekhana. Showing off. Why does one show off? Seeks validation. Desire to be validated. Have people appreciate us. Jatha yogya vishay bhunja anasaktahana. Try and slowly have the realization that you can be happy and you can exist without the unnecessary needs of life. For example, how many of us could be comfortable with one bead bag throughout our life? What is the need of a bead bag? To keep our beads, hold our beads, keep our beads safe, right? Now, typically, if there is a particular bead that you're chanting beads that you're attached to, you would want to keep it for a lifetime, isn't it? There are people that receive in a ceremony the beads, somebody else has chanted on those beads and they receive that. Some of them just keep it on their altar lifetime, worshipping those chanting beads. But there are others who also chant on those beads. Wouldn't you want those beads to last a lifetime? Yes? Are you going to exchange those beads for another set of beads, chanting beads? But the bead bag that was originally there with the beads, how soon do we exchange it for another bead bag? As soon as there is a new one that attracts us in the market. Correct? So what is essential, what is non-essential, that has to be figured out, because if we need another bead bag, it means we have to spend our time and money in purchasing it. I'm not saying you should not go for new bead bags. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to make it simple from what my life experiences are. Oh, you should see the collection of bead bags that I have. And there's a story behind each one. Oh, I received this bead bag from this gentleman, this bead bag from this saintly personality. I went to this holy place and there I found this bead bag. The whole idea of bead bag is a little different. Unknowingly, we don't realize that we are accumulating things. And when we accumulate, the idea to have more seeps into our consciousness. I need more, I need more. So that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. Jata Yogya, or Yatha Yogya, if you want it like that. According to what your needs are, what is befitting, that is what you must accept, and the other things you must give up. And thus, you should cultivate renunciation in your life. Very quick question on bead bags. What is easy to give up? The practical point of view. What is easy to give up? Wanting another bead bag in life? Or giving up food and water on Nirjala Ekadashi? What is easy to give up from the practical point of view? For most of us, it would be easy to give up having food and water on Nirjala Ekadashi because, I'll get blessings. But wanting to give up the desire of having another bead bag as early as 6 months down the line. Did we even think about that kind of renunciation? Maybe we did, maybe we did not. If we did, good. If we did not, then maybe we have to rethink. And that's just one article in our life. What about the different kind of gopi chandans that we have? Tilak. In the good old days, when people did not have access to gopi chandan, they were just a Ganga mud. People would take tulsi mud. Tulsi plant, wherever she is growing, the mud, the earth in which she is growing, that is sacred. That could be used as tilak. Please don't do that with our potted tulsi plants, collect. Basically, what it means is, it's so easy to cut down on what we think are essential needs, because practically they are not so essential. Next verse. Antare nishtha karo bahya loka vyavhara ochirata Krishna tomai koribe uddhar. Oh, now he gives hope. He gives a blessing. He says, ochirata Krishna tomai koribe uddhar. Krishna will very, very quickly, very soon, bless you by removing you from this material cesspool, taking you out of it. Uddhar. He'll save you, liberate you. Ochirat. So there, in the previous verse, he says that slowly but surely what you have to do? Cultivate renunciation. So that is the tortoise way, slow but sure. And in this verse, he says, Ochirat. Very soon you'll get. So isn't that a paradox? Right? But that is hope. Hope is sometimes very paradoxical. When you really are hopeful, then even when things are not understandable to our sane mind cannot figure out things, but when you're hopeful, you still feel that there must be something that you've missed out and you have to look out for it. A way out. So everything is falling apart, but you're like, there must be something that can hold it together. Paradox. That's hope in this material world. So, O Chirat, very soon Krishna would bless you. How? Antarinishta karo. So, as you're trying to purify yourself, or you're trying to be more focused on what should be your goal in terms of renunciation, as you're working on it, you're studying hard, you're doing the abhyas, you're doing time like that, relieving yourselves of unnecessary burden, especially in terms of consciousness. I promise you, very soon, Krishna would liberate you. However, you still have to take care of your intent. What should be your intent? Internally, you should always be eager to only associate with Krishna. However, externally, the senses are not as of yet prepared for that kind of renunciation. So externally, loka vyavahar. You should go about your worldly activities with dexterity, in an expert manner. There would be people above 40 in the audience, 40 years of age. Please raise up your hands. Under 20, please raise up your hands. Okay, those who are above 40, do you know someone very close to you in your family or an acquaintance under 20? Do you know of them? Please raise up your hands, those who are above 40. This could apply to all of us from that point of view. How do you address the enthusiasm of someone who's under 20, like Ragunath Das, who says, I just want to chant Hare Krishna, go to Vrindavan, and I'll think about my future, my career later on. Familiar? Familiar scenario? Here's some helpful tips from this verse. Isn't it? But typically, as grown-ups and elders, we would only give one side of the picture. Oh, if you're completely focused on Krishna at a very young age, it's all right if you don't think about your career. It's okay. Especially if the child is not our child, someone else's child. You're so fortunate that your child is completely wanting to dedicate their lives to serve Krishna. But when it's your own child, it takes some time. I mean, loka bahya, for others you may say, yes, it's Krishna's blessings, but at home, you and your family members are talking about, is it too early for our child? Should we try and put some sense in our child? So yes, you should. And the community should also do that. If they have a structure, a known structure that can identify if that child, if that teenager, if that youngster understands Vairagya and is not falling for Markata Vairagya, if there is a structure that can identify it, it would be helpful. Unfortunately, there may not be a structure like that. It could just be your belief system. With that belief, how good are we doing in our own spiritual life? Don't we try to be a little practical in our own spiritual lives? We should try and encourage young men and women who have not as yet very well formulated their experiences of life as a human being in the human species. We should encourage them according to these terms that were given by Lord Gauranga. See, if I had done that without references, I would have been a hot spot. But here I have reference. And this is my take on this reference. On these references. Yes? So Lord Chaitanya is encouraging Ragunath Das Goswami to graduate, finish college, things like that, according to our terms, because he's already enrolled into making something out of life. Already enrolled. So Antar, one should cultivate a strong desire to only dedicate one's life to Krishna internally. Externally, loka vyavahara. For those who are above 40 and are in Krishna consciousness, this may not apply. Because you spent quite some time in Krishna consciousness and you've also had experiences in this world. But for someone who's under 20 maybe, under 25, this should be looked at. This perspective, this approach should be looked at. So anyways, Lord Gauranga has told Raghunath that this is what he should be doing. Raghunath understands the final judgment has been given for now. He goes back. And it takes that instruction. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had just given a suggestion. He doesn't say, Amar Agyay. He doesn't say, this is my instruction. He just gives a suggestion. This is what you should do. Raghunath takes it as an instruction. So everyone is free to choose how they want to accept words of advice in their lives. And whatever you choose to do is good for you. Till you find a better way to look at it. So we should not always try to become a clone of someone else. Somebody else could easily eat 10 rasgullas and be good with it. Or 4 samosas and 3 slices of pizza. We may not. We may not be Virkodara like Bhimasen. So since Prabhupada said prasadam is the way to go back home, back to Godhead, does it mean we become a clone of that person who has a nice jataragani, nice digestive fire? No. We go about our way till the time our digestion improves or comes to that platform where we can also do well with 3 slices of pizza, 4 samosas and 10 rasagullas. And not feel insecure that, oh, I am not so devotionally inclined towards prasadam. And the other person should not feel, oh, I am doing my best. See, I honor prasadam the most appropriate way in this community. I am so advanced. Waste of time. Either ways is waste of time. We just waste our time trying to jump to conclusions. All we should focus on, honor prasad as much as you want, go about your business. So Lord Gauranga, Raghunath has gone back home. Lord Gauranga has departed to Jagannath Puri. So Raghunath has accepted the instruction of Lord Gauranga and is following it. He becomes so good at it. The Chaitanya Charitamrita gives a reference that he was so good at it that he actually resolved a very, very intense conflict between another tax collector and his elders, his father and his uncle. He resolved it at this young age. It's like there was some talks about Google and Amazon wanting to merge, but they had differences, conflicts. Raghunath jumps in and gets the merger done. That was how relevant that was. Raghunath's action was at that point of time. Very relevant. He brought about merger of perspectives between two personalities who were very, very suspicious of each other. Like intensely suspicious of each other, and it could have escalated and maybe become violent, or somebody would have had to go behind bars, prison. Raghunath resolved it. And the way he resolved it made both parties have tears in their eyes. My dear God, oh my Lord, we are so blessed to have this child with us. I mean, this is the future of our society, of our community. This child would be a leader in society. That is how they felt about it. The future generation is in good hands. Maybe a year passed, maybe a couple of years passed. Lord Chaitanya couldn't go to Vrindavan after taking sannyas. So he was in Jagannath Puri, but he was always eager to go to Vrindavan. So it could be a year, maximum 2 years, maybe a year, since he was in Jagannath Puri. He told his friends and his associates in Jagannath Puri, I have to go to Vrindavan. He departs. That's a beautiful prasanga. It's a beautiful, there's a beautiful description of all that happened when Lord Gauranga wanted to go to Vrindavan for the second time in his life. He departs. He goes as far as Ramakeli. There he meets Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, who were Dabir Khas and Shakar Malik at that point of time. Jiva Goswami also gets a glimpse of Lord Gauranga because his father, Anupam, was brothers with Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. He takes a boat across the huge, expansive waters of the river Ganga and goes to a place called as Kanai Natshala and turns back. He doesn't go to Vrindavan any further. He has to return back. So Kanai Natshala is more north and west on the way to Vrindavan from Navadvip. So since he has to return back, Lord Gauranga says, why don't I just go back to Navadvip and the places around Navadvip on my way to Jagannath Puri? So he comes to Shantipur once again. Who gets the news? Who's the hero of our narration today? Raghunath. So Raghunath gets news about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he's always meditating throughout this entire year, a year and a half. He's meditating on Lord Gauranga and his instruction. So according to those instructions, he had tried to do his best. His heart was still just wanting to leave all these attachments, all these connections that he had in terms of family, in terms of career. He just wanted to leave all of that and just be a wandering mendicant. So Raghunath hears of Lord Gauranga going to Kanai Natshala and returning back. So he hasn't come as of yet to Shantipur. It would take some time for him to come. So he's so eager to reach out to Lord Gauranga because Jagannath Puri was way far. But now he is within reach. Every day he would run away from home. Try to go wherever Lord Gauranga was. So Ramakeli, he would try to go to Ramakeli. In between Ramakeli and Kanai Natshala, he would like to go to Kanai Natshala. Before Ramakeli, whatever village he would hear Lord Gauranga was in, he would run away from home. And his parents would immediately realize they had put a tracker on him, something like that. They put a tracker on his feet. So immediately, beep, beep, beep. They would realize he's running away. They would send people after him. They would run after Raghunath, catch up with him. Because Raghunath did not really have good means of transport. They had good means of transport. They had eyes on the ground. The people. So the Majumdars had their own FBI working for them. So they would immediately know where Raghunath was. They would catch him and bring him back. And this would happen every single day. His parents had practically given up on Raghunath that, but they would not give up on their own hopes. They had given up on Raghunath, that this boy is completely lost. He has completely been enamored by Lord Gauranga, so he's lost. But they would not give up on their hopes. So every time they would try to bring him back. So then Lord Gauranga comes to Shantipur. Shantipur is very near Raghunath's house, Krishnapur. He says, please, can I go and meet Lord Gauranga? Give me some blessings, permission. So his parents said that, all right, at least he's not running away, he's informing us of where he's going. So we'll send him along with guards. So they send him to Shantipur, where he meets Lord Gauranga. Now, there Lord Gauranga, oh, I'm sorry. This is my mistake. The first time when he meets Lord Gauranga in Shantipur, after sannyas, Lord Gauranga just blesses him. So whatever we described about Lord Gauranga giving him instructions was in the second instance. Sorry? I'm so very sorry. I mixed it up. So twice he meets Lord Gauranga. One was after sannyas, and the second time when Lord Gauranga has come from Jagannath Puri, traveling to Vrindavan, and on this trip, when he comes back to Shantipur, he meets Lord Gauranga, and he receives those instructions from Lord Gauranga. So Lord Gauranga has given the instructions, and Lord Gauranga has departed to, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has departed to Jagannath Puri. So again, he's back. He's back to where he was with his parents. And now he tries to live. Prabhupada calls him like a pounds and shillings man. He does it very well. But he is not happy. His parents also realize he's not happy. No one is ready to change the situation. His parents don't want to leave, and Ragunath Das Goswami doesn't want to stay. So it's status quo. He gets news that Lord Nityananda is at Panihati. And then Raghunath, this is my take on it. Raghunath is wondering, every time I approach Lord Gauranga, and maybe I should try a different approach now. Maybe I should go and offer my plea to Lord Nityananda. Now, even in those times, people knew that Gauranga Mahaprabhu is a little strict, Nityananda Prabhu is a little lenient. Just as in today's times, you know that, of the same, right? Nityananda is more lenient than Lord Gauranga. Isn't it? If you want to also accept that designation, it's up to you. But let's say, in today's times, I am the Madhai. Somehow or the other, there is someone that I know who's Jagai. So Lord Gauranga is ready to denounce both Jagai and Madhai. Nityananda japs it. Lord Nityananda tries to find some reason to prove that we are actually good people. And many times the person that is being referred to, like if Lord Nityananda is speaking about me, that, oh no, this person has good qualities, even I get surprised. Really? That's how Lord Nityananda's vision is. He tries to find out some iota of goodness in oneself. Even if we have been good in our dreams, Lord Nityananda says, say, you're a good person. And we are like, I don't even remember my dream. Nityananda Prabhu says, I remember. In your dream, you were thinking that maybe I should help another person, and then you said, forget it. But because you said in your dreams, maybe I should help another person, you are my Madhai. I will try and see what I can do to get Lord Chaitanya's mercy for you. So Lord Nityananda is, he's a go-to person for us. Right? So Raghunath goes to meet Lord Chaitanya in Panihati. Now, Panihati is a very, very commercial place. I mean, lots of trade and commerce. And one of the richest traders of Panihati is Raghava Pandit. He is extremely rich. I wanted to use the word filthy rich, but didn't seem appropriate, right? Extremely rich. How rich is he? That sometimes he would order on Amazon a coconut that was supposed to be very rich in nutrients all the way from Mars, because Musk had sent his spaceship there. I mean, that was how rich he was. He could spend money on an entire space trip to Mars just to get back one coconut that he was convinced is rich in nutrition, because he wanted to offer it to Lord Krishna. Does that, I mean, sorry for the way I'm presenting it, but I wanted to make it relevant. If I just used a word from Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is like, oh, maybe he was rich. And then when he does get that coconut, somehow or the other somebody mishandles it. You know, at customs, it gets mishandled. And he rejects the coconut. He says, let us send another spacecraft, another spaceship to the planet Mars and get another coconut. Like a multi-millionaire, Raghava Pandit. However, he was so simple in his day-to-day affairs, in his personal needs, that people are simply amazed. How can Raghava Pandit be such a simpleton despite having so much wealth? And hence, Raghava Pandit was very dear to Lord Gauranga. How dear was Raghava Pandit to Lord Gauranga? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would stay in Jagannath Puri as Gauranga Mahaprabhu or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was in Jagannath Puri. But every single day when Raghava Pandit would make an offering to Lord Krishna and Lord Gauranga on his altar, then in a mysterious way, Lord Gauranga would travel all the way from Jagannath Puri to Raghava Pandit's house and personally accept his offerings. And Raghava Pandit would, my dear Lord, also eat this. Raghava Pandit didn't make offerings like we made offerings. Like we put it behind the curtain, close the curtain, come outside, sing Bhoga Arti, do our Gayatri, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, go back, open the curtain, remove the plates. No, he would personally, Krishna, please have this. He would have his servants do the offering. Servants means he had hired people because he felt I should have people who are really qualified in this process of making offerings, who know how to do the upacharas. He would hire them. But personally, he would be meditating. He would be meditating on how he is making that offering to Lord Gauranga. He would be like, take this shukta, take this shak, take this. Nalita, Pushpanna and everything. Have more. Gauranga Mahaprabhu would personally be present. That is how dear Raghava Pandit was to Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And Nityanand Prabhu was in his town. So Raghava Pandit was making huge preparations for Nityanand Prabhu to. Here, Nityanand Prabhu was physically present. He did not need to be mysterious about it. There was no mysticism there. So personally, Nityanand Prabhu was present. Lord Gauranga would mystically appear. But here Nityanand Prabhu was personally present in Panihati along with so many of his companions. So Raghava Pandit was like super engaged. Who comes there? seeking permission from his parents, Raghunath. And when Raghunath sees Nityananda Prabhu on the banks of the Ganga, because he's sitting right there under this beautiful, beautiful Vata Vriksha, this beautiful, beautiful tree, so expansive, such an elegant tree, and under that, this amazing rock. And Nityananda Prabhu, it had a flat surface. Nityananda Prabhu was sitting on that high platform. And all these luminaries, they were sitting around him. And Raghunath was just amazed seeing this sight. He had tears of affection for Lord Nityananda. He offered obeisances from a distance. Somebody told Lord Nityananda, one of his associates, Raghunath is offering you obeisances from a distance. Nityananda knew who Raghunath was. Nityananda was personally, he was following Raghunath on all social media. That was how dear Raghunath was to Nityananda. Nityananda would always keep updates about Raghunath. He would just search on AI, Perplexity, Google, what is Raghunath up to right now? So when somebody informed him, Lord Raghunath is here, he's like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And Nityananda is Nityananda. He has super sight, zoned in unto Raghunath. He saw Raghunath offering obeisances from a distance. Can we go to Ante Leela 6.47, please? Yeah, we are done with this. Oh, sorry. So he sees, Lord Nityananda sees Raghunath from a distance. He says, aha! And Nityananda being Nityananda. Nityananda has this, he is insanely humorous. He likes to, in a very, very good way, pick on people. Like he would pick on Advaita Acharya. Sometimes Srivas. Only with Lord Gauranga he was always grave. Occasionally with Lord Gauranga also you do that. Occasionally, very occasionally. But generally he was very grave. With the rest, he would like always try to pull their leg. Whenever he got an opportunity. But in a very, very good way. Healthy. So when he looked at Raghunath, he says, Shuni Prabhu kahe, when Prabhu heard that Raghunath is here, Chora dili darshana, I see a thief. And everyone is like, Raghunath is a thief? I mean, let's suppose somebody that we respect a lot. You know, sometimes we may use the word our Guru Maharaj or Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru, those terms, right? In those terms. They are sitting on us and they look at us, thief! For a moment we'll feel happy, but later on, we know that in the audience, somebody in the audience is going to have some different idea about oneself. Nobody in the audience of Nityananda Prabhu, his companions, had misgivings about Raghunath, but they are like amazed. Thief! Chora dili darshan. See, a thief has come to meet us. Aye, Aji, come here. Tora karimu dandan. I'm going to punish you today. Like Nityananda is so eager, happy. Today I get to give punishment to someone. That is God, Nityananda Mahaprabhu. It's fun to be with Nityananda Mahaprabhu. He has this mood of Vrindavan like in every core of his body. He's like Krishna and Balaram was sober there. Krishna was always at his pranks. But here, Nityananda Prabhu said, enough of Balaram perspectives. I want to experience the same pleasure that you, Krishna, experience when you play pranks in Vrindavan. So here Nityananda is in that mood. He says, Karimu dandan, I will give you danda, I will give you punishment. And I mean, Here, Raghunath is thinking that let me try another way out. Let me go and approach Nityananda. Nityananda saying, I will give you danda. And then Nityananda Prabhu tells him that as punishment, you have to feed all of my companions and myself with chida dahi. But Raghunath doesn't just stop short of serving chida dahi, he also serves not just dadhi chida, it is also called as dadhi chida or chida dahi, dadhi chida. He also serves him with dugdha chida. Chipped rice, that is how we call it here. Chipped rice. Chipped rice with condensed milk and with kola, bananas. And the dugdha is condensed milk. Like when we speak of condensed milk here, I'm not sure how we think of, but if you have grown up in India, condensed milk simply does not mean milk. It has lot of dry fruits in it. Because that is how you condense milk. So you could have the flavor of cashews and pista. So many flavors in condensed milk. So that is the dugdha chida here. And then he used special karpura. So 2 sets of preparation he served Lord Nityananda. And how did he do it? He ordered lots of pots, especially 7 big pots and other smaller pots, smaller than the bigger pots. Not really small pots, but huge pots, but smaller than the bigger pots. So the bigger pots were like maybe 3 feet high, 4 feet high. And the smaller pots would be like 1 feet high, 1 feet tall. He gave 2 of such pots to every single person. And 1 pot was chipped rice that had already been soaked in milk. And after the chipped rice has absorbed all of that milk, to it was added condensed milk, the dugdha. With champakala, a specially flavored, like the champaka flower, the taste is like that. The flavor that is for the champaka, very sweet, very distinct. The champakala, kala, banana, added camphor to it. Lots of dry fruits, even fresh fruits. The Chaitanya Charitamrita simply says other eatables. And the other pot was, Nityananda Prabhu said, chida dahi. So 1 pot was pot of opulence, because Raghunath was a rich person, so opulently has to serve. The other pot was pot of simplicity, that anyone can serve Krishna with leaf, a flower, a fruit. So there's hope both ways. If you have nothing, still you can serve chida dahi, easily available. And if you have a lot, you can serve dugdha chida, condensed milk, and feel fortunate that despite my inability to be simple in life, Lord Nityananda has forced me to serve a simple fare. You know, when you have riches, it's very difficult to be simple in life. For example, you may want to go to Vrindavan and lead a simple life. Like, I will live in a little room and I will eat only khichdi. But still you would want to take a rickshaw to Loi Bazaar, because it's difficult to walk. When you have wealth, there's only so much you can do as external renunciation. Hence, Nityananda Prabhu forced Raghunath to experience what is renunciation in terms of his service by telling him, just serve chida dahi. At the same time, Raghunath knew that everything can be offered in Krishna's service. So he also served dugdha chida. So he offered everything to Krishna, and at the same time, he followed the instruction of Lord Nityananda to be renounced in one's offerings. 2 pots everyone had. Everyone was very happy. But Nityananda Prabhu did not stop at that. He invited Lord Gauranga hotline. Mahaprabhu, we are having fun here on the banks of the Ganga. It is just like Vrindavan. We are cowherd boys. Come over. Lord Gauranga jumped at the proposal. He came over, but only a few people could see Lord Gauranga having come to the banks of the Ganga at Panihati. And Nityananda Prabhu said, oh, you're here? let's have fun. So you take a handful of chip rice, dahi chida, and put it in Lord Gauranga's mouth. You feed Lord Gauranga. And Lord Gauranga is, I love this. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took a handful and put it into Nityananda's mouth. And he felt so happy. He started laughing. This is fun. And the two brothers were having fun. And a few fortunate souls could see they were having fun. The others could only see Nityananda Prabhu having fun. And they were just happy seeing Nityananda Prabhu having fun. This is the festival where Nityananda Prabhu is giving danda, punishment, to Raghunath, and therefore it is called as a Danda Mahotsav, the festival of punishment. It is also called as a Chida Dahi Mahotsav, the festival of chipped rice and yogurt. But we call it as the Panihati festival because it happened at Panihati. The next day, and then Raghav Pandit comes and says, what can I expect of you, Nityananda? I make all of this huge, and he brings all of the preparations to the Ganga, the banks of the Ganga, and he distributes all of that, and he says, I cook so much for you, and you don't even care about what preparations I've made. You're sitting right here on the banks of the Ganga, and you're enjoying the Hichida. Nityananda Prabhu says, I'm a cowherd boy, I'm in Vrindavan, and you're also a cowherd boy, you come sit, you also take Hichida. So he gives him the Hichida too. And Raghav Pandit is eating and he's like, but what about the prasad that I made? Nityananda said, in the evening I'll come to your place and there I will honor prasad. So in the evening he comes to Raghav Pandit's place, all of his companions come. But they're not just going to have prasad, they have a huge kirtan. Raghunath is watching the kirtan, but he wants to serve. So Raghav Pandit says, come with me to the kitchen. And Raghunath assists Raghav Pandit and his other assistants in making an elaborate feast for Lord Nityananda and his associates. Then Lord Nityananda honors all of that. He says, hey, where is Raghunath? Because Nityananda Prabhu keeps updates on Raghunath, right? Hey, where's Raghunath? Raghav Pandit says, please, sir, you have fun. I will take care of him. He says, no, he should also eat. He said, I will make arrangements for him to eat. And after Lord Nityananda had eaten, and if there were remnants, he takes those remnants and gives it to Raghunath. And he says, this, by honoring this prasad, all of your desires will be fulfilled. So Raghunath honors the prasad. That is not true. He distributes it to his companions first. He says, even they should get the mercy of Nityananda. However, amongst all of them, only Raghunath could access the mercy in terms of renunciation, the others could not. So even when we get blessings, it depends upon how we absorb those blessings. Is the way blessings manifest. So Raghunath says that it's late. He says it's late. Raghav Pandit tells him, don't worry. Tomorrow you can approach him privately. So the next day, Raghunath approaches Nityananda Prabhu privately after his bath and before his meal. And there, Nityananda Prabhu, he makes a submission to Nityananda Prabhu. Basically, he says that, my dear Lord, it is time. Please, let me have complete shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let me spend every moment of my life physically, emotionally, on all aspects, serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu looks at his associate and says, all of you please give blessings to Raghunath. He has wealth equivalent to what Elon Musk and Warren Buffett and Bill Gates have. Chaitanya Charitamrita says Indra, but how do we know what Indra has? What kind of wealth? So practically, Raghunath has the wealth equivalent to $1 trillion. He's already a trillionaire in our present times. No one is a trillionaire on our planet right now. He says, Raghunath is a trillionaire. He already has the wealth of Indra. And still, he's so detached. You bless him that he gets the mercy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Everyone gives their blessings. And then Nityananda Prabhu turns to Raghunath and he says, very soon you shall have the personal association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. Rest assured. And there you will be serving Sarup Damodar Goswami. And as the personal assistant of Sarup Damodar Goswami, you would have personal service of Lord Gauranga. So this is the conclusion of the Panihati festival as we know it of. Let me summarize it according to in the world that we live in. Lord Chaitanya is the CEO. Nityanand Prabhu is the recruiting agency. You know how recruiters go out? A CEO trusts a recruiting agency more than spending time personally recruiting people. So when Raghunath approached Lord Gauranga personally, Lord Gauranga gave him instructions. But the recruiting agency, Nityananda Prabhu, their business is to already look at all the aspects that the candidate has. So Nityananda Prabhu perfectly sized him up. Now we, as a candidate, when we apply for a job position, do we actually know what part we are going to play in the team? We may not. But the team knows where we can fit in. So Nityananda Prabhu knows exactly where Raghunath is going to fit in as the assistant of Sarup Damodar Goswami. So maybe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they must have been discussing about Raghunath. Maybe Nityananda Prabhu knows exactly who fits where, what is the job description. So if we want to take it as a mystical blessing that, oh, Nityananda Prabhu gave a blessing, we could take it like that. Very good. Or if we want to approach it from our own practical experiences, then we are the recruit. Nityananda Prabhu is a recruiting agency. Nityananda Prabhu knows exactly where we fit in. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the CEO. And what is our business? What is the business that we are in? Especially in the Bay Area, what is the business? Our family business is book distribution. At ISV, isn't it? So our business is to serve Krishna. That is the business we are in. And in very simple terms, it is called as being in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So any quick feedback, thoughts?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for nicely explaining the psychology and the hearts of the characters of this pastime. I felt it's really fresh and then very enlivening. So thanks for that. So Prabhuji, I have a question on the Antaranishta and the Bahya Loka Vyavahar, right? So this seems to be more applicable to the person who is already realized. For example, if you take the case of Priya Maharaj, so he was already well trained under Narada Muni, and he was asked to take the role of a ruler by Swayambhava Manu, and then he was acting as a king, but internally he was like very fixed up. So for a sadhaka, practicing sadhaka, right, it's like more of Bahya Nishta. When you come in association of devotees, right, we show that we are practicing nicely and all. But internally we have this Loka Vyavahar, the contemplation on the material things. So how do we, but we also see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing this to Ragunath Das Goswami when he was not yet renounced. So how do we practically take this instruction? Is this actually meant for sadhakas? Is what my question.
So there is the aspiration to be good at or seek perfection at what we want to achieve. And there is a reality that seemingly appears to be contradictory. So how do we resolve that? What do we do to resolve that? Did I paraphrase it properly? Yeah? Honesty And if we are honest in Loka Vyavahar and our Antaranishta, that is our intent and dealings with people, if we give ourselves very honestly to the Loka Vyavahar, in the mood of service, considering the field of activity to be Krishna's energy, and hence all those godly qualities, that are there, the divine qualities, a lot of those qualities has to do with Loka Vyavahar in the Bhagavad Gita. So if we contemplate and try and work our external dealings through those qualities, then externally, or our interactions on the Loka Bahya, our interactions with the world around you, is in the mood of a servant, where we only are wanting what is our quota and we do not want to take anyone else's quota. Satyanishtha or pramanikta, sincerity, honesty in those dealings. Many a times our Loka Vyavahar is, there could be corruption in our Loka Vyavahar. And it could affect our Antarnishtha. What are we good at? Antarnishtha or Loka Vyavahar? We have more skill sets for Loka Vyavahar than Antarnishtha. So let us try and make our Loka Vyavahar, let us try and make our external dealings more compatible with the philosophy that we have. Let us try and be simple in our dealings. What is the word for that? There is, for duplicity, what is the word for duplicity that we have? Sorry, in Sanskrit. Anyone can help me out? Kapat. Kapat, you've heard that word? And have you heard that it is very difficult for a kapata to get the blessings of the Supreme Lord? We've heard that? No duplicities. No duplicity within us. Hypocrisy. What are we supposed to be? Simple. So what is the word in Sanskrit for simple? There is kapat and there is, yes, saral, saralata. And Srila Prabhupada also mentions these words in his presentations. And some of, like even Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj, he has given an exposition on what is saralata and what is kapatata. So what is saralata and kapatata? What is this? That one must try and be free from kapat or duplicitousness. And one must try and be simple in our dealings. Loka Vyavahar. We cannot lead two lives, right? In Loka Vyavahar, we try and see how we can complicate our existence, and Antarnishtha, internally try to be simple. The skill sets that we have presently is with material senses. We still are working on getting good skill sets for our subtle existence in terms of our arrogance, our ahankar, our ego, our pride, always trying to be judgmental or justifying situations and using the intelligence for that, or letting our mind go haywire. We are still working on the skill sets needed to keep the mind focused, keep the intelligence pure, and trying to be free from false ego. So we're working on it. But the senses, we are good at it. With our ears, we are hands, legs. We have quite a few skill sets. So let us purify that. Loka Vaibhava. That is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to indicate to. So if you're under 20, you still don't have the experiences of how you have not developed the skill sets to its potential that your senses can manifest. So they really have to be given training. But after 20, after you graduate, aren't you supposed to now provide? Aren't you supposed to now be productive? So at 40 years of age, still we are wondering of how our skill set should be in external behavior. Then somewhere the training up to 20 years and 20 to 40 years, we have not really looked properly at it. We have missed out. All right? So if we are very good at Loka Vyavahar, which most of us will be, if we have lived life, we know what it takes to keep ourselves happy and peaceful is simply keeping others happy and peaceful. Is it? Family life? What is the best way to be happy and peaceful? Like wives, what is the best way to be happy and peaceful? Keep the husband, the children happy and peaceful. Husbands, what is the best way to do that? Keep the wives. But when you're young, just married, you don't have that ability. So there's a lot of frictions. After some time, you work in your own space as a wife, you work in your own space as a husband, and figure out a way how to have decent dealings. So skill sets. This is what is called as Loka Vyavahar. At work, that is what you do. With the neighbors, that is what you do. So when you're Loka Vyavahar, if you have lived life like that, this for people in the ashram, it's a little different. Because for them, they have to be very meditative. If they are not being, if it's not possible, or if the mission of the ashram is something else, like going out and preaching and distributing books, so they have to be very meditative during that process. And their Loka Vyavahar matters for them. Typically, for an ashram, it is more like meditation. Focus on reducing your external engagements and focus more on sitting down in one place on Ekadashi and at least once in 15 days, sit down on Ekadashi and do what? Let your minds feel easy with the chanting of the holy names. Once in 15 days, maybe once in a year, whichever. That is for the ashram people to do. They have to develop primarily those skill sets. So, Loka Vyavahar has to be, or the way we deal with the external world, that has to be properly aligned with the philosophy that we believe in. And then, in the meantime, we work on the skill sets needed for internal purification. What are those skill sets? Shravana, Kirtana, Smarana, those are the skill sets. Shravana, Kirtan is not just hearing with your ears, speaking with your tongue. Like for example, what is 2 to the power of 2? 2 square. 2 cube. Is capital of the United States of America. Washington, D.C. Right? The planets that are closest to the sun. Mars, Venus, Earth. Comes to us, right? The training. So when we have internalized all of this. So when we hear 2 square, the idea of 4 seems relevant. So when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, it should feel as relevant as 2 square is 4. Both are concepts, isn't it? 2 square is 4 is a concept, right? Do we see that manifesting? Do we see any element manifesting in the external world as 2 to the power 2 square? It may manifest as 2, but 2 square is a concept that we apply. The mind, this is the subtle. internal, antara. So similarly, Hare Krishna could be just using the tongue, chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or internalization could be there. For a child who's just in 6th grade, 8th grade, and they learn square roots and squares, they don't internalize it. But when you are working on it, you're a programmer that has to use that. You internalize it. You develop concepts. Based on those concepts, you're kind of wondering whether a dam has to be built this way. You're wondering whether the energy, electric energy has to flow that way. You conceptualize it. Similarly, we have to conceptualize the Hare Krishna, what is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Nam Nam Akari Bahudha Nija Sarva Shakti. That conceptualization has to be there. So then we have to develop those skill sets, Antaranishta. Okay? So first of all, we have to trust ourselves that we are not so bad at Loka Vyavahar. We have to come out of that unnecessary guilt complex, which may not necessarily be humility. We are good at what we do. There are other things that we are not good at, even externally, right? So we have to, first of all, start accepting who we are. And why are we good at what we do? Because Krishna has given us the ability and the potential to act. It's not by our own. The action is ours. The potential has been given by Krishna. So that could be humility. All right? And then Antarnishtha is skill sets that we have to develop. There are so many things that, as I said, Shravana, Kirtana, Smarana, Vandana, Padas. These are all skill sets that can be used for internalization. Is that okay? So we'll stop. It's already very late. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Brinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have to empty the space.
Hare Krishna, now we have a short presentation by ISV Youth.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. That was a very wonderful class on Chaitanya Leela, and especially that the Panihati Chira Dahi festival is coming up. It was so nice to immerse our consciousness on the wonderful life of Ragunath Das Goswami. We'll continue this morning into our last chapter of the presentation from the Dhruva book by Radhika. She's going to cover the 16th chapter of this book, the textbook that the students have studied in the last few months. And we will hear what she has to say in the context of Dhruva Maharaj's story in his final scene. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. As Mataji said, I will be covering the final chapter of the book Dhruva by His Grace Gaurang Darshan Prabhu. The title of this chapter is Unfading Gratitude, and this chapter is based on the 12th chapter of the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. To provide some context before we begin, Dhruva Maharaj, after ruling his kingdom for 36,000 years, left for Badrika Ashrama, where he focused all his time on worshipping and meditating on the Lord. One day, while Dhruva was engaged in worship, two Vishnudutas named Nanda and Sananda arrived at the ashrama. They told Dhruva how lucky he was and the wonderful opportunity that he earned the privilege to go to Vaikuntha. Due to his intense austerities at just 5 years old, the Lord sent a plane for him to be taken back to Vishnulok. Before boarding the airplane, Dhruva Maharaj circumambulated and worshipped it. He also paid his respects to the Vishnudutas who had arrived. Just as Lord Vishnu is worshipped, his paraphernalia and associates are to be also worshipped with that same respect. Dhruva Maharaj took this privilege of being allowed to go to Vaikuntha with gratitude and humility. He accepted it humbly without any arrogance, understanding how lucky he was to have earned this privilege. He then completed his daily worship and offered his respects to all the sages before boarding the plane. Dhruva Maharaj was about to go to Vishnuloka, the home of Lord Vishnu, but he still remained consistent with his worship that he had been doing. Gaurang Darshan Prabhu writes, he placed his foot on the head of death personified and boarded the airplane in an effulgent spiritual body. Dhruva didn't die as an ordinary human, showing how in the spiritual world there is no destruction or deterioration. As he boarded the plane, drums sounded in the sky, and the Gandharvas and Apsaras began to sing and dance. No one was envious of Dhruva, and they all celebrated his success. Spiritualizing relationships. Just because we make relationships and connections materially doesn't mean that they have to be material. We can make all our relationships spiritual by bringing Krishna in. For example, Suniti was Dhruva's mother. They already had that material relationship. However, when Suniti told Dhruva to go to the forest to seek the Lord, she also became his Siksha Guru. Being so grateful for his mother, Dhruva felt disturbed knowing that he was going to go to Vaikuntha without her. He thought about jumping off the plane, not wanting to go any further. Nanda and Sananda understood Dhruva's mind and assured him that his mother was also coming to Vaikuntha. Additionally, Narada Muni was Dhruva's Diksha Guru. He was the one who initiated Dhruva with the Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya mantra. Dhruva was grateful to Narada Muni because he was the one who taught him how to reach the Lord. Humility and success and consistency in failures. Something we should all learn from Dhruva is that he was always humble. We see that before he left to go for Vaikuntha, he paid respects to all the sages. Dhruva was at a much higher spiritual level than the sages, being eligible for Vaikuntha. However, he still went to seek their blessings. In life, we are tested for two things: having humility when we succeed and being consistent even through failures. For example, someone who succeeds in something quickly could become proud of their accomplishments, and someone who fails in something could struggle to find the motivation to keep going. Dhruva Maharaj succeeded in attaining Vishnulok, but he still remained humble, and the sages who have not yet achieved Vishnulok still remained consistent in their worships. Gaurang Darshan Das says, when the attitude of gratitude overpowers the mood of entitlement, one values the privileges received. At the end of each chapter, Gaurang Darshan Prabhu writes these pearls of wisdom. These were the ones that I thought resonated with this story the most. Nourish the seeds of compassion, gratitude, and humility. Dhruva Maharaj was always humble. He had no pride and retained his humility and was always grateful for whatever he had. Value the privileges received instead of demanding for rights. Dhruva Maharaj valued the privilege of going to Vaikuntha without any arrogance and took it as a blessing. Be humble and grounded even after accomplishing the goal. Dhruva Maharaj took the blessings of the sages even after accomplishing the final goal of going to Vishnulok. And be grateful to those who supported you and blessed you on your way to success. Dhruva Maharaj couldn't imagine going to Vaikuntha without his mother, so much so that he was to jump off the plane. He was that grateful to her. Before I conclude, I would like to quote two verses from the 12th chapter of the 4th canto. Anyone who hears this narration of Dhruva Maharaj acquires exalted qualities like him. For anyone who desires greatness, powers, or influence, here is the process by which to acquire them. And for thoughtful men who want adoration, here is the proper means. The great sage Maitreya recommended, one should chant of the character and activities of Dhruva Maharaj, both in the morning and in the evening, with great attention and care, in a society of brahmanas or other twice-born persons. The story of Dhruva Maharaj teaches us about humility, determination, and how to attain success. At just 5 years old, Dhruva performed austerities that brought Lord Krishna to him, and at the end of his life, Vishnu sent a plane for him to be taken back. Gratitude is one of the foundational qualities of a relationship, and the most disgraceful thing you can ever have is ingratitude. We see that Dhruva was always grateful to everyone who had supported him throughout his journey, starting with his mother. We should take the story as motivation to never take our successes for granted and to always stay humble and grateful for whatever we receive. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Radhika. That was an excellent. I'd like to invite the audience. Prabhu, starting with you, if you want to give some feedback or if you have any questions and any words of encouragement. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you for the wonderful presentation, and especially highlighting qualities like humility, gratitude, and austerities. I think that would be very helpful for all of us to meditate on, especially me. So I'm very, very inspired by how you highlighted these qualities. There's a lot of hard work that you've put through with all the relevant quotations that meant a lot to you. My question is, have you ever found difficulty in not expressing gratitude in your own life?
Yes, sometimes I do find difficulty expressing gratitude because at times I do feel grateful, but I don't know how to properly express it in words or actions, and sometimes that struggles for me to get the point across.
And my follow-up question would be, can I have a follow-up
Yeah.
question on that? And do you have a roadmap of how you're going to deal with it?
Not really. I just kind of try to work on it.
That's great. Working on something shows that we are active living beings and not inert beings. That's a very, very encouraging answer. I wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone else has any questions, comments, or reflections? Yes, Prabhu. Actually, there's a mic right next to you.
Yeah, I really like the concept of gratitude that you brought up. I think especially when your ego is challenged, you tend to think, oh, all the successes that I've got, it's because of me. But really acknowledging the role that a lot of other people have played in your lives and how that's so important to you succeeding or in whatever you've accomplished. I think that's really important. And I really like the story. Thank you.
No problem. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was nice. Anyone else? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, I'm fine with offering gratitude most of the time. But when somebody hurts me, then it is very hard to go beyond that and express gratitude first within and then outside. So how do I do that?
Can I call a friend? Rohini Prabhu. You mind answering the question?
Prabhuji, would you like to answer that question?
Would it be okay if I could be as lost as you are?
Sure, Prabhu.
All right. Gratitude, I think what really resonated with me in your presentation was, and I think that is what I think you were trying to do, is explain that how gratitude is a living principle, it is not static. And your answer kind of reflected that one has to constantly be working on it. So it's all right if there are challenges and one does not do as well as one has imagined in life. However, we always have an option to do better. And Krishna is always, in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, he's always, he's okay. He's okay to give us time to come up with our own workings and to achieve our goal. And he's always waiting for us to say that, all right, I am ready. So till that time, Krishna is looking out for us, and he is definitely, he definitely trusts us to work on these principles throughout our life. Is that okay, Radhika?
Yes, that's great.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Actually,
All right.
that's a very nice question. And if I may add, that's
Yes.
a fantastic point, Prabhu. What comes to my mind when we were reading this book is Dhruva Maharaj. He was so sincere that Krishna took care of him. So our first quality is sincerity in our desire to overcome whatever obstacles we have in our path. So Krishna sent him in the first step, Narad Muni. Of course, first his mother is his own Shiksha Guru. Then by the grace of his mother, when he's going to the forest, he doesn't know what to expect. He does not plan anything. But Krishna's mercy comes in the form of Narad Muni. So someone comes to us and guides us, even though we may not seek that guidance. But by Krishna's arrangement that happens, and by devotees' grace that happens. And in the later part, when he fights the yakshas, he is making the mistake of overdoing his action to revenge his brother Uttama's death. At that time, also we see, initially when the yakshas were attacking him and he was bewildered, the sages come and rescue him and give him the power to see through the illusion. And then further ahead, when he is overdoing it, Swayambhuva Manu comes, who's his great-grandfather, to stop him. And Dhruva immediately listens to that good counsel. So when Krishna arranges so many wonderful, by his sincerity and determination, Krishna is so pleased that throughout his life, he is sent good counsel. Whenever he deviates from the right act, Krishna sends him. And his humility is so perfect as a devotee that he can listen to that good counsel and act on it immediately, put aside his false ego. When he was killing the yakshas, he was so much in that mode of, passion to revenge. But the minute he was intervened, he kept aside his passion and he said, yes, you're right. And then when Swayambhuva Manu tells him, you may have offended the king of the yakshas, Kubera, you should go ask forgiveness to him. He immediately does what he was told. He doesn't think twice that, why should I ask? Maybe what I did was, he didn't go into the mode of blaming or defending himself. He was right away ready to take that instruction. So that was what I felt when I thought of your question and, Prabhu, your wonderful answer that Krishna, prepares us. And while reading this book, that is what was some thought that came to my mind. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the presentation.
Hare Krishna.
During the previous presentation, I kept thinking of Dhruva because Ragunath was young and enthusiastic, and so was Dhruva. And so I'm glad you had very elaborately described some of the lessons from the Dhruva Maharaj pastimes. My favorite part was how when the sages failed to make Vaikuntha, they remained consistent in their meditation. And then when Dhruva had attained Vaikuntha, he had remained humble in success. Similarly, with Ragunath, being a young man, and then finally getting to meet Chaitanya, and he has all of this enthusiasm for service, and Chaitanya tells him that it's monkey renunciation. To a young person, that could be very disheartening. I think your average person would actually quit. I mean, if you imagine meeting your dream person, someone you really look up to, and they call you a joke, it would be an easier route to quit. But Ragunath had decided to remain consistent in his devotional service and his desire to serve. And then when Ragunath had finally attained success through meeting Nityananda, he was given prasadam that could give him whatever desire he wanted. He remained humble by giving it away to others. So I thought both of the presentations were very nice, and they paralleled each other very nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was really nice. Is that it? Okay. Thank you so much, Radhika, for this wonderful presentation, and she's been putting a lot of effort. Thank you also to all of you. We have actually completed this yajna of doing the Dhruva pastime, and we look forward to now going to another book in the future presentations. And also, this is probably your last year with the Kaishara class, and I will miss you as your teacher. She's been in the Sunday school since she was 0 years old.
We didn't have anything 0.
We didn't have Kana that time, but we had 3 onwards. But yes, she's been a fantastic student. It's an honor to have you, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. So next part of the program is Prasadam. Thank you for bearing with us. We are a few minutes over time, but we would like anyone to volunteer sing the Prasadam prayers. Prabhu, we could have the...
Sharira Vidyajar Jodindriya Tahe Kal Jive Phele Vishaya Sagore Tarmade Jivayati Lobhomoy Sudurmati ताके जेथा कठिन संसारे कृष्ण बोड़ो दयामय करिबार जीवा जय स्वप्रसादन दिलो भाई सेयनामृत पाओ राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेम डाको श्री चैतन्य नीताय प्रेम डाको श्री चैतन्य नीताय महाप्रसादे गोविंदे नमः ब्राह्मणे वैष्णवे स्वल्पपुण्यवतं राजन् विश्वासो न विजायते प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरसोपजायते प्रसन्नचेतसो यसो बुद्धिपर्यवतिष्ठते त्वयोपभुक्तशकाण्ड वाशलङ्करचर्चिता भोजिनो दासस्तवमयं जयेमहि भगवत श्री महाप्रसादम की